Hi, good day everyone. My name is Alex. I'm from Leader, and I just wanted to welcome you to this very short video where I explain how to set up Ubiquiti surveillance in around 5 minutes. It's meant for installers to have a fast start with Ubiquiti and Ubiquiti Protect specifically. So when you're getting started, your deployment should look something like this. Your Ubiquiti camera connecting back to a switch with PoE for both connectivity and power, and then behind that you'll often have your unified gateway or console, which functions as the NVR. So if you need more information about how to deploy your cameras and the topology, please feel free to check out techspecs.ui.com. Tons of good information on there. So let's go to the setup. We're going to do this very quickly. So I already have the Dream Machine in place, the switch, and 2 cameras, although they are not set up just yet. First thing we're going to want to do is in the network portion, go to Settings, and in Control Panel, you'll see there's an option for installing different apps. The one we need to make sure is installed is Protect. If it is installed, you'll see the icon at the top. If you're not seeing the option for Protect, it possibly means that the console doesn't support it, and you might need to get a different console to do it. So once that's installed, it takes a few seconds to do it. You'll see you're able to click on the button on the side, and we can now start setting up the cameras. The first thing we'll typically do is go over to the cameras and we need to adopt them. That basically means that the camera associates to this NVR and will continue to be associated to this NVR going forward. I don't need to log into each camera individually. You'll see they just automatically become adopted and they have already found their IP addresses. So super easy to get that done. And theoretically speaking, we are now live. I can view the cameras. This is obviously a lab environment, so don't judge the boxes, etc. But that's how quickly we can get the cameras up. The next thing we're going to typically do is we'll start through the settings and basically work our way through it. So one of the things we can start on first is just obviously making sure our environment sets up to our region. One thing I would recommend turning on is smart detections. This allows facial recognition and license plate recognition if you have AI cameras that support it. You can also do archiving, so if you want to record video and then push it to somewhere else, like Google Drive, Dropbox, NAS, etc., you absolutely can. At this stage, this is manual archiving, but you do also have an option for continuous archiving to move video footage older than a certain period of time to somewhere else. And as a next step here, what we would also want to do is go ensure that the settings here are what we want it to be. Important, make a copy of your recovery code. This is very handy if you ever need to replace the NVR and you don't want to readopt all the cameras. There's a bunch of settings here. They have good indicators on them as to what they do. Do check that out. And the important one here is discovering third-party cameras that enables OnVIF support on these devices. So if you have cameras from another brand that you need to adopt into this environment, that's the way you do it. The next step is to set up our storage management. So I don't have any hard drives installed into this environment right now, so let me hop over to something that does. So this is the storage manager on one of our other machines, and I am able to here format my drives, set them up in RAID, set up retention, etc. Super easy way to get this done. So not much else that we need to configure after that. The next thing we'll typically go and do then is we'll set up the cameras in terms of their recording. So I can do this in bulk. I can say all of these cameras I want to use recording schedules, or I want them to always record or record on motion or events only. I can also say to record AI events or smart events if I wish. And beyond this, I have the capability of controlling the quality, the frame rate, the encoding types, the resolution, the microphones on these devices, and a whole bunch more. We typically apply a bulk setting here to just say this applies to all the cameras to set a baseline, and then we can individually override any of these cameras with our own recording settings. So that's it. The cameras are already set up. They are recording as soon as we've enabled this. As the next step, I would probably want to go configure my camera so that I get the right view from them. Stuff we're trying to avoid here is like cameras that are skew, etc. Obviously, you'll know this. What I can do now is I can hop onto one of my AI Pro cameras here, and the first thing I'm going to work through is the image tuning. So this is a new camera. It's in our Melbourne office, and I'm just going to go, as a first step, I want to change the zoom level. Maybe I want to zoom it out a little bit more. This camera is capable of doing that. You need to ensure your camera has that capability or this button won't show. And then we can adjust stuff like exposure time, so the frame clarity, what's best for low light, HDR capabilities. We can again change our video compression, frame rate, our nighttime viewing. We can even denoise, and the important one here is changing our frequency, so 50 hertz or 60 hertz, depending on the lights in your environment. If you see any fuzzy lines across the screen, that's a good thing to play around with. As the next step over, we can also set up motion zones. So where do we want to detect motion? Where do we want to exclude? We can also set up smart zones. That's for more AI focused motion detection. We can set up line crossing, and obviously we need to set up privacy blackouts as well. So very easy to get that done, and a lot of the cameras do also have manual focus adjustment if it has a very focal lens as well. So super easy to get this done. It takes a few seconds. As the next steps, so what we can do is we can manually override the recording if we wanted to, and we can also say what is detected as part of the smart events. So animals, faces, license plates, etc. can all be configured through here, and depending on the capabilities of your camera. And as a final step, we'll typically work our way through all of these to make sure it's set up the way we want it. As a final step, we'll also go create an alarm for whatever your customer requires. Let's say you have an AI camera that does facial recognition. I can just go, I want an alert for a specific face. Every time it sees that face on this camera, it should notify that person. And I can play around with this to get that set up in whichever way I want. See, there's a ton of pre-made ones already. Super easy to get this started, really short video. We do have a more detailed guide on the setup as well as use linked in our video description, so please feel free to reference that as well. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have an awesome day.